sounds really weird, and probably other fighters don't feel this way, but like I feel a sense of responsibility for the people I've beaten to be successful, because I feel like I set them back from their dreams and be able to provide for their families and stuff like that. I just almost feel like like I have to be successful, otherwise that was in vain. I took all this from you for nothing. So
Well,
that's kind of like a weird thing that I feel.
that's actually it's a beautiful way to put that, because you are right. You are putting stumbling blocks in these other fighters' ways who are trying to reach the same goal as you. And if you just stop, if you tumble two guys' dreams and then you just decide to take it easy, you're doing those two guys injustice. So that's a beautiful way to look at it, that you're putting your effort in not only for yourself and for everybody around you, for your family, but for the fighters before you. Most of the time, especially in this sport, people think it's so much, I hate this guy, so I'm going to punch this guy in the face. And the way you put it is not that way. A lot of these opponents do respect each other, and they all do have the same mutual goal. Punching just is the way to get to that mutual goal.
Yeah.
But that's a beautiful segment to put it that way. It's really cool to hear from you. Couple more things, and I'll let you go. I know that you gave up a lot of your time today, so we really do appreciate it here. So I do want to ask you kind of one more kind of serious side, and then I've got a couple fun ones to ask you. So you get home and you get to hold your brand new baby girl, and you get to see your wife. What is it like? What kind of legacy do you want to leave for your family the second you enter the UFC and as you continue further along in your fight career?
One is somebody who perseveres, pushes for something, and doesn't take no for an answer. That's something that I like to pass on to my daughter. And then just being a good person.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time thinking about through the last 10 years of who I wanted to be in the UFC, and like what kind of image I wanted to put out there and portray myself. But I just decided that like I just want to be me and be genuine and be a good person. And although that doesn't always make the most money, that's who I want to be, and that's the legacy that I want to leave.
Well, and just meeting you, this is only our second time really talking face to face, besides our social media encounters. And my first impression of you is you are one of the nicest guys I think I've ever met in my entire life. And so it's super nice to have and refreshing to see guys like you, and do it for the sense that, that's what brings you your pride and joy. So it's super cool to see. All right, now moving in, we got a couple really fun questions for you. First and foremost, I want to say, going into the UFC, what is your most anticipated or excited moment about your first UFC debut?
The clothes. Free clothes.
So are you?
I get clothes with my name on it. I get a jacket. I got all this cool stuff. My fight shorts have my name on it. That's pretty cool.
Are you? Are you and your team sponsored by anybody yet, or?
My team has some sponsors, but I have one sponsor. It's Law Offices of Timothy McDonald. It's been a long day. Law Offices of Timothy McDonald. They supported me on my last fight. I'm pretty sure they're going to sponsor me for my next one. But that's the only sponsor I have right now, and that's something that I'm actually wanting to push for more this camp, just to have more money to be able to send me out to use the PI, the UFC PI. It's just like a state-of-the-art training facility. Although the PI is free to me, it's not free to fly, and it's not free to
absolutely
stay in a hotel or whatever nearby. So that would be something I like to take advantage of, because they have a really great facility out there, and I live to it with my strength and conditioning coach as well, because I think that I love him. He's been like the best thing that's happened to me in a long time as far as my career, and I would like for him to enjoy that as well.
Last but not least, I did want to say I was social media stalking you the other day, and I noticed that a certain someone named Stipe Miocic, the greatest heavyweight of all time, as most people call him, just beat DC in their trilogy fight not too long ago. He follows you on Instagram. I don't know if that's something that had happened before the fight, if he has always followed you. But have you talked to Stipe? Have you slid into his DMs yet and got some words of wisdom from the champ?
Actually, I went down to Ohio. Where is it? He trains at Strong Style. I went down there 2 years ago, and I trained with him and Jeff Hughes and another guy, I can't remember, but he was actually really cool. We trained together, and then he asked me to come to like his private strength conditioning, and we did that, and he was a nice guy. I've talked to him here and there. He congratulated me on, I think, my daughter or something that happened. But he's a cool guy, but he's got something that I want.
Hey, you can always be friends with the guy. You just got to take something that you need. All right. I mean,
he's had his time. He's made a lot of money. He's done a lot of things, but it's
he can go be a fireman the rest of his life. You can take that belt and walk away the champion.
That's a good job. Yeah, that's a high-paying job.
Yeah, that's a high-paying job. You can get benefits from that. You can still take care of your family. I was scrolling through on your social media, and I realized, I was like, oh, has Stipe always followed him? I just never noticed it until the other day. Well, Josh, not only has it been an honor to have you on the show, congratulations on such a huge victory in your Contender Series. Excited for you. Come November 28th, we will, at the Locker Room, we'll be doing a live show during your fight for that UFC, strictly for you, my man.
That's awesome.
You've always got a supporter here at the Locker Room. Very excited. November 28th. Is there anything else you'd like to say to any of the people listening out there?
No, I appreciate everybody. I got so much love after my fight, and it was almost overwhelming, but in a good way. I appreciated it so much, and keep watching. I hope to keep putting on a show, and I promise to work hard and give my best and do everything I can to win. Ladies and gentlemen, the future heavyweight champion of the world, Josh Parisian. Josh, thanks again so much for joining us. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Have a good one. You too.
Always a joy to have Josh Parisian on the show. Such a kind-hearted man, such a good father, and a great fighter who will have his debut fight November 28th. Make sure you follow Josh on all his social media. I will have that, of course, attached to the podcast when it is posted. Make sure you follow him, show him some love, and show him some support. All right, well, after that, we have to go directly into something that Jacob was completely wrong about.
But I notice anytime anything wrong happens, I say they're wrong because they were wrong. And were they wrong?
Are they wrong?
I think they're wrong 100%. Sometimes they're wrong. They were wrong. Sometimes they're wrong.
In the words of President Trump, sometimes I'm wrong. And here's the deal. I am always man enough to admit where I have faulted. I'm always man enough to admit where I am wrong, even though my wife doesn't agree with me. And where I got it wrong is that Luka Doncic is a top 10 player in the NBA today. Despite what I said, despite all the discrepancies I had about putting him in my top 10 earlier in the year on the podcast, he has to be a top 10 guy, and here are some reasons why. Okay, well, for those of you who don't know about my NBA top 10, you will have to, go back into my podcast log and find my NBA top 10 list, which is fun for me just because you get to go back and listen to some of my earlier stuff. But I'll just kind of give you a rundown. So I'm not a big proponent on putting guys in year 1 and 2 in the league in my top 10. Here's the reason why. I've been proven wrong way too many times with players that have had great year number 1s or great year number 2s. And then they have that third-year slump, or had great year number 1s and then had that sophomore slump in year 2. So I like to see at least 3 to 4 years of a body of work. That really proves to me that player is sound, that player is continuously in that top 10 conversation for me. If I choose a player in my top 10 based strictly on 1 year's body of work or 1 year of having a great year, then I would have Bradley Beal in my top 10 this year. I would have Trae Young on the cusp of being in my top 10 this year. I would have Jeremy Lin in my top 10 when he was playing with the Knicks. Not saying now, but if I always abide by that standard and by that rule, then Jeremy Lin becomes a top 10 player just because he had 1 year of Linsanity. Or not even a year, technically. It was just a stretch of games. So that's why I don't like to overreact. I don't like to just go ahead and put guys in my top 10 because they've had a good year or 2 good years. 3 to 4 years is a good, sound observation for me to say, hey, this guy is a top 10 guy. This guy is not. This guy is on the cusp of it. This guy is not.
right? So Luka Doncic fell in that zone for me. Now, I never said Luka wasn't good or that Luka wasn't talented or that Luka couldn't be a top 10 player. No, I've always spoken very highly of Luka. I really enjoy his game. He's one of the most gifted rim attackers and passers. He's very unique in his own style. He knows how to get to a rim seamlessly with some of the slowest footwork that I've ever seen. It's not Kyrie. It's not explosive and exciting. It's slow, but he gets there, and it's miraculous. And he's a very good passer of the basketball, and now he's become a very good scorer. These are all things that I knew going in, but this was never Luka's a top 10 guy the second he walks into 2020-2019 season at all. But here's the way I look at it. The NBA playoff bubble, technically for me, is year 3 for Luka Doncic. It's a brand new season, basically from the start, besides you keep the record from year 2. He was able to have who benefits most from having these shutdowns and not being able to play. Players like Luka Doncic, young guys that can make quick changes to their games to make an impactful play the second they came back. Why do we see players get better from year 2 to year 3, from year 3 to year 4? Because they take those 3 and 4 months off in the summer, if they're not in the playoffs, 5 months, and they work on those little things that need to make them the next step up. He's already been able to do that in the NBA bubble. He was able to go back into his little quarantine, and he was able to work on being a more consistent three-point shooter, not being someone that just chucks up three-point shots every time he came down the court, which is a lot of what we saw in Luka year 1. He was able to do it in the Euro League simply because there was no one that could guard him over there. Now that he has guys over here that can kind of stay in front of him, he can't just take a 35-foot step-back three anytime he wants. Something that's improved from year 2 to now what we've seen in this bubble, being smart when he takes his shots. We see Luka's toughness also grow. Year 1, year 2, Luka was not driving to the rim and getting smacked all around and then saying, all right, coach, I'm going to continue to go. Or it's more like, all right, coach, I think I go in now. No. Luka was saying, hey, I'm going to stay out here on the perimeter. I'm going to stay out past the three-point line. I'm going to be a good passer, but I'm not driving in. What we have seen in Luka in my technical year 3 for him is he is a rim attacker. There's not one person on the Clippers that can stay in front of Luka and not keep him from the basket. Well, there is, but his name is Kawhi Leonard, and he's probably load managing come third and fourth quarters because now instead of being a two-way guy, which is what he was praised for, Kawhi Leonard is now a simply one-trick pony, which is I can put up 35 points a night, but I'm going to continue to lose to the Dallas Mavericks, who are not as good of a team as the LA Clippers. But that's another subject for Saturday on the NBA Bubble episode. But what I have seen from Luka is his growth in attacking the basketball. He's getting to the rim when he wants. He's taking contact now and finishing and ones. We have seen him in his smarts in basketball learn, hey, this is when I need to take my threes or when I can. This is when I can't. He's become a great facilitator. He's become a great rebounder. I mean, the other night he had 40, 17, and 13. So he's added on to his game exponentially. And it started with just being smart with what he does best. Luka is a top 3 facilitator in this league. He is a good rebounding guard, might even be on the verge of a great rebounding guard from what I've seen here in the playoffs. He's a decent shooter, and he's a crafty ball handler. Luka has grown from year 1 to year 2, from year 2 to year 3. These playoffs, Luka Doncic is the 7th best player in the NBA today. Now, there's a stream of players in front of him, the LeBrons, the KDs, the Giannis's, the Anthony Davis's, the James Hardens of the world. They all come in front of him. Don't get me wrong, you have to put them, and he comes right after Steph Curry for me. He does. He is number 7 in the NBA right now. Couple facts. He has more game winners in the playoffs than Paul George. Another fact. This is Luka Doncic's first playoffs in his entire NBA career. Another fact, Luka Doncic is a 21-year-old kid. And I say kid very strongly because there's not a lot of 21-year-olds besides the LeBron Jameses and the Kobe Bryants of the world and the Michael Jordans that could come in and really impact the league the way they have. Fact, Luka Doncic hit one of the biggest shots in playoff history last week against the Clippers. Fact, a Luka-led offense has broken the record for most NBA rating on the offensive side of the basketball in 1 year of play. Literally